Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Habits of Influence. And today, as usual, me, Magdalena, and my co-host,
Ian Manheimer.
we're going to be discussing all matters of being a business owner, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And how that impacts your life, how that makes you be a great entrepreneur, a person who creates a massive movement, a movement of people that wish to follow you as a great leader, and how not to lose your sanity in the process. So this week, I actually wanted to talk to you about dating and relationships, and how do we actually navigate that as a business owner. And as my wiser older colleague, I'm going to be getting some tips and tricks and making notes, because I'm going to be very, very frank with you. I'm single, I'm a multi-business owner, and I'm very, very old and specific when it comes to relationships, so I can take any advice that I can get. And I'm sure that there's a lot of people in our audience who are struggling with the same. And my specific struggle is either thinking that I don't have time for relationships, or wanting a relationship, but then figuring out that I don't have what it takes, if you know what I mean. Because it's just a lot of hassle, isn't it? Making time for another person whilst you're doing your things. It is quite convenient, especially when you're running a business, to just have your own stuff, your own time, your own things, and not having to respond to anybody else. And also, what we are going to also be talking about today in this episode is, the weird fast food kind of culture when it comes to dating, relationships, and all of that. So stay tuned, stay to the end with us today. A very, very, very interesting episode, I hope. And yes, hello again to everybody who's coming back. Hello for the first time to anybody who's new. So Ian.
Wow. All right, here we go. Diving right into this one.
Well, I've been
funny.
transparent from the very beginning, so your turn.
So here, I guess dating is never easy. Doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or not. It's never easy. It's hard to find. I'm going to reframe that because it puts it into a not positive mental attitude. It's a challenge to find the right person. It's hard, and we all have different things. You mentioned being an entrepreneur and having kids and not having time and this and that, and we can always make a million excuses on why we can or can't find the time. Or I am a firm believer, and it's very difficult to find this, just that's not it's you got to find the right person. But if you're with the right person, all of that becomes easier, because you're going to find that rock. You're going to find the person who supports you. You're going to find the person who's going to say, okay, how can I be a support to you? And one of the biggest struggles I've come across with I don't even want to say dating world, but just in general, is the toxic independence. Like, people are so used to not being able to rely on anybody that they've got this I have to do everything myself mentality. And we've created this because we've been let down by people. There are articles on this. I'm not pulling stuff out of my butt. There is actual articles about this toxic independence. And we live in so many people have been burnt, or so many people have been let down, or they can't rely on a partner. So we do everything ourselves. And the minute somebody tries to come in, we have this like, oh, what's their ulterior motive? Oh, they're just going to hurt me. And we put this wall up. And when we put this wall up, we prevent ourselves from allowing ourselves to be happy. And I could literally talk about this for days, this topic, but it really, I truly, in my core, 100% without a doubt, believe that if you are with the right partner, all those things become easier. It doesn't matter if you have kids or don't have kids. It doesn't matter if you have 10 businesses or you work for somebody else. The right partner is going to come into your life and support you. The right partner is going to be by your side. The right partner will make all those stresses seem less significant. They're going to help build you up. They're going to support your goals, your dreams. They're going to fan your flames and help you become a stronger person. I fully believe, and this isn't just relationships, they could be even business partner. The right people in our lives are going to come in and help us feel alive. They're going to help us not be as stressed, whether you're dating or whatever the relationship is. It's when we surround ourselves with the right people, magic happens. We're stronger together than we ever are alone. And that's why we hire coaches, because we can only get so far. We only know what we know. In order to get to that next level, we have to get other people to help us. So sometimes in a dating situation or relationship, even if you are a business owner, the right partner, and again, I stress the word right partner, will come in and they'll brainstorm ideas with you, or let you be a sounding board, or be a sounding board for you when you have to vent, and maybe jump in and get their hands dirty and help you with your business.
Mm-hmm.
And we can always find time, and it's difficult. I mean, like you, I run multiple businesses, and there are certain times a year where my family doesn't even see me. So how can I expect somebody else to? But sometimes with the right partner, understanding your schedule or having a similar schedule, you are able to work it out. Even if it's just 5 minutes to see them and give them a hug and kiss before the end of the night, you find a way to make that time. For you, when your son's in school, maybe you grab lunch with somebody. And it's not easy. I'm not saying by any means, oh, all of a sudden all these doors open and, little birds are flapping and holding your clothes up for you. It's not, you're not Cinderella over here, but it takes work. It takes effort. It takes letting your walls down. It takes opening yourself up to the possibility of something great, and taking the risk. Just like in business, we take a risk.
Yeah.
Nobody opens a business and boom, we're making money. There's risk involved. There's investment involved. There's time involved. There's growing involved. There's learning involved. And it's the same thing when it comes to any type of dating relationship. There's going to be stumbling blocks. We're going to fall. We're going to trip. We're going to have our walls that are built up from other previous relationships that didn't work out. We're going to have our own perceptions of how things should be or what we want or need. And we just never know. We just never know. Yeah. So in order to get the reward, we've got to be willing to take the risk. And we got to be willing to invest.
I was smiling earlier because when you were talking about, the hurts and kind of reservations that we have as human beings, because I can see a lot of that in me, even though I might not be voicing this out loud, or I might not even accept it or say it to myself even, that's the case. But I am scared, and we are all scared. And also, you come up with excuses. You come up with excuses for a reason. It's because you either, like you said, you don't want to be hurt, or you don't want to get yourself in a position where, your life, your carefully crafted life, and by this I mean, for a lot of us entrepreneurs, it's our business, it's our career, where that would be put in jeopardy because, something goes wrong. And I can see that in me. I have not been in relationships. Firstly, because my child was very young, and I didn't feel that this was my priority, or this was something that I was supposed to be focusing on. And after years have passed, and I kind of settled down with the thought, the things that happened with his dad, and how the situation kind of developed or did not develop at that time, and the businesses that I've built, because I've actually built 2 businesses since the split up, since I split up with my child's dad, as and when my son was growing up. I kind of started noticing the change in people. And when I finally was ready to put myself out there and go out there, that the changes are absolutely scary and big and difficult and confusing for me. All the ghosting right now, and all the strange approach, the battles of sexes, of how men hate women hate men, horrible things that we do to each other, the lack of understanding, the complete lack of communication between us. I'm finding all of this so scary and so confusing and so different to what I remember it used to be, a decade back when I was still dating. Because bear in mind, it's been a very, very long time since I was in a dating scene, since I actually have put myself out there. It has been a decade. So for me, it's all completely new. Even though I'm almost 40, to me it's kind of just as scary as the first dating experiences right now. And yes, somewhere deep down inside of me, I don't want to be part of this McDonald's, relationships that are being cultivated right now. People do not wish to stay with each other. People do not value things like longevity of a relationship, like connection of souls. There are a lot of people that are just inherently angry and hurt from their past experiences, and they project that to the people that they meet, even though those people have nothing to do with that. So, in view of all of that, what would you say are the most important mindset shifts that people like me should be doing in order to overcome that fear of even putting yourself out there?
Well, a couple things. First of all, like you touched on something, which is we live in that like swipe culture, right? Like the, oh, I don't like this person, get rid of them, swipe them, or
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know, whatever app that I don't do dating apps, so I don't know what the thing is, but like you swipe left, swipe right,
I
or
don't do that
something.
as well, but we
There,
all know, yeah.
there's a, it's like we live in a hookup culture. Like it's like
Yeah.
you just want to hook up and be done. And like you said, it's hard to find people who actually want a commitment or want to build a life together. Um, so that's difficult. There's a great quote that I saw in all my quotes. I always find these quotes, but this one was pretty powerful, and it's so difficult. And I don't know if I have a tool to get over it, but it was, if you don't heal the wounds of the past, you'll bleed all over somebody who didn't cut you.
Mm.
And it's true, because we take all this garbage, all this crap from previous relationships, and we hold on to it, and we put these walls, we build this wall around us so we don't get hurt, so we stay protected. So we're cautious of this, we're watching for red flags, and we do this to protect ourselves so we don't get hurt.
Yeah.
But also sometimes we protect ourselves so much we don't allow ourselves to be happy either. So how do we get through that? Tips. For me, I'm a big person on communication, and I am actually, I would say I'm an over communicator. It probably drives people crazy because I'm like, I like to know everything, I like to share
It
everything.
actually is true, guys. Ian is the kind of person who needs to and must discuss everything to the very core,
Everything.
every
I
single time.
do. I do. I'm a communicator. I like to hear people's thoughts. I like to share mine. I like to know what's going on. I like to, it's important to me. And I think the biggest part is having true, authentic communication and being able to listen. As you know, I recently started dating somebody, and you know, things are going amazing, absolutely amazing. And there was one little hiccup a few weeks ago. I'm not going to go into details, but it was a very misunderstanding. There was like I had said something, it was perceived totally not the way I meant it. They were upset, and we had a discussion about it. Instead of her shutting down, instead of me shutting down, instead of us holding resentment, we said, hey, can we actually have a conversation? And we got together and we sat down on the couch, and I said, how did you take this? And they took it one way. And I said, oh my God, that's the exact opposite of how I feel. I said, I meant it like this. And they're like, I see how you, now that you're saying that, I totally get it, but that wasn't how I interpreted it. And we had this major breakthrough, which actually made us a ton closer, because we actually looked at the problem, and instead of going into old habits, either one of us, by either putting up the wall or running or isolating or keeping it inside, we verbalized we were upset, we shared it, we talked about it, and worked through it and busted through it. And it made everything better. And I think that's what's lacking in a lot of relationships, is the ability to truly communicate with somebody. And when I say truly communicate, I don't mean talking. I mean communicating, listening to what your partner has to say, and not taking offense to it, not being like, oh, and not going to tit for tat thing. That drives me crazy.
Yeah, having a dialogue basically, instead of shouting your truths at each other, which is the most common thing that happens nowadays.
Or oh, well, you did this, well, you did this, well, you did that. No, just saying, okay, this is how I feel, and then listening to how they feel and saying, okay, what did I do that made you feel that way? And whether it was me or not, it could have been their perception, it could have been something I did. being willing to say, and both parties, not just one side, it has to be both parties, being willing to say, okay, what's my role in this? And
Right.
how can I prevent you from feeling like this again? What can I do to safeguard your heart? What can I do to safeguard your feelings? What can I do to make you feel more secure? What can I do to get rid of whatever is bothering you?
Mm.
You know,
Okay,
and
so this is the stage of relationships, but let's take a few steps back and let's say, you said you just started dating. So how did you put yourself into that scene in the first place? How did you decide that you want to meet somebody? How does a entrepreneur go about things in today's world? You said there are some apps. What are the best kind of like rules of thumb of dating right now? Because like I said, I haven't been, it has changed completely. It has changed. We communicate, everything happens online. At least in my case, I have a little kid at home. Majority of my world is revolves around one business, second business, or Francis, my child. And that just, it kind of spins around those three at all times, and sometimes it's just me, but that's when the time is left over. So what are the first things that perhaps we should look at? What is that moment? What is that feeling of deciding, okay, yeah, obviously you would say I don't want to be alone, but
yeah,
what is that
I
mind
think
frame?
so. It's funny because that wasn't at all what was going on in either one of us. Um, it was somebody who I had met 4 years prior through networking, and then we reconnected and just said, "Hey, we should grab coffee sometime." Like not with intent of dating, just with as a, "Hey, let's catch up. I haven't seen you for 4 years. Let's see what's going on in each other's life."
Mm,
She was at a point where she did not want to date, was not thinking about dating, was not interested in a relationship, and I was not looking for a relationship either. So it's not like I said, I'm ready to date." It wasn't like I'm looking for a relationship. So it's really difficult for me to say what the right steps are. I would say what I would think would be a true reflection is you have to be emotionally available.
mm,
You have to be willing to say, I want, not just I want somebody in my life, but I'm available to be emotional with them and be vulnerable. I'm available to provide what they need in the relationship, as well as have my needs met as well. And I will say that's one thing, in my current relationship, that's one thing we do very beautifully, is that, we both want to help each other with each other's needs. And she'll
mm.
ask me, is there anything I could do better? I'll ask her, is there anything I could be doing better?
Oh, that's great.
And it's really, it's beautiful. It really is. And
Do you
it's
think it's a
formative.
case of experience, age,
I
growth,
don't, I don't think age, I don't think
self-development?
self-development's big. She's very big on personal development and growth. She does coaching. She's done tons of different programs. And um, so she's very big on personal development, as am I. And I think we've both been through a variety of different relationships that weren't very successful. And we've done a lot of reflecting, a lot of personal growth around that. And um, I know I'm constantly reflecting on things I've done that have made my relationships not successful. I'm a firm believer that it's never just one person. Um,
Yeah.
and I'm constantly thinking of ways that I can improve myself. And this is where, like I said, the one little hiccup that we had, which is, it was minor. It wasn't a big hiccup. It's a new dynamic. You start dating somebody and you're learning that person, you're learning their language, you're learning their intentions. And it really takes a lot of it takes a lot of internal work, I think,
Mm.
to look at ourselves and see what role we're playing in previous relationships as well as current ones, and how can we be the best partner possible to our significant other.
Okay, so what about the myth of not having time? Because obviously, both of you and me, we're the kind of people who don't just run one business; we run multiple. It takes a lot of time.
It does.
It
And
does. No matter how great systems, how great automations, your mind is occupied quite a lot. So, what would you say to people who think, I don't have time for a relationship, I've got my business to focus on?
I think it comes down to balance. It's hard to find that balance. Again, there are times, summertime, for example, I don't even see my own family. So it's finding somebody who understands your schedule and is able to work around your schedule, and vice versa. You were able to work around their schedule. And like I said earlier, it's sometimes you might be really busy, but making, even if it's just, for me, again, I'm speaking for myself from my experience. For me, even if the person just, okay, you had a really busy day, I had a really busy day. Can we find 5 minutes just so I can give you a hug and kiss? Let
Hmm.
you know I'm thinking about you. Staying in communication. Even if you're really busy, it takes 2 seconds to send a text to somebody. Hey, I'm thinking about you, love you, miss you, whatever. You know, I'm gonna share a story actually from yesterday. You know, um, she was out working and she had a 2 hour break before she had to go back to do some other work. And I was at my warehouse. I gotten a new shipment of new equipment in, and I was filthy. I hadn't even showered. I was gross. And I'm like, oh yeah, sorry. I wish I could just shoot over to your side of town. She was about 30 minutes from me. And she's like, hey, she goes, I got 2 hours. I'm coming to you. I'm like, it's not worth it for you to drive and 30 minutes to come here to turn around and go back. And she's like, no. She goes, who's at your warehouse? I'm going to bring you guys drinks, and I'll visit for a little
Oh.
while before I have to go back. And it's the little things like that, making the effort, even if it was just
Mhm.
30 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, just to make the effort to show the person that you actually freaking care and actually are willing to invest in the relationship. And that's, at least again, for me, that's huge.
I think
Plenty of
that's
guys.
it for all of us. It does it for all of us. I think it's just the problem lies in the fact that less people are inclined to give that sort of gestures, to genuinely just think about another person, right? Just to
Be
give
thoughtful.
without thinking of what's in it for me.
Yeah, we live in a self-gratifying, it be me world.
Absolutely, like the kind
Yeah.
of consumptionism, of always just thinking from the point of me and mine and for me and how I can benefit.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't think there's any like one simple trick, because everyone, for entrepreneurs, all of our businesses are different. Some people have a brick and mortar business, they're 9 to 5, or they close at certain hours, and whatever. There's people who are be like, I'm in the entertainment industry. Most of my work is weekends, nights, holidays. I always joke around and say I work when everyone else is off. you
Yeah.
know, so it's finding the people who can either understand. And this was brought up to my attention years ago, and it resonated with me really strong, because I was talking to somebody, and they were dating somebody at the time, and we were just talking. It's like, and she was determined to find somebody for me. She's like, I'm gonna find your girl. I'm like, no, you're not. She's like, I'm like, good luck. I'm like, I don't have time to date. I'm not interested in dating. She's like, no, I'm gonna find someone. I'm like, no. And finally, she said to me, because I said, I use the excuse, it's not fair to whoever I'd be dating. They're like, why wouldn't it be
Oh,
fair? They're like, well, I'm busy. I said, I'm not always available. I'm doing events. I'm doing this. I'm that. I work all the time. It wouldn't be fair to somebody. I said, we might have something planned. I have to cancel on them. And she looked at me. She goes, that's not for you to decide. I'm like, I'm like,
oh,
I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, it's not for you to decide what's fair for somebody else. If they like you and they see the value in the relationship, that's for them to determine, not
oh,
you.
boom.
Yeah, I was like, this is exactly what it was. I was like, but it's like, no, there's no but. You don't determine what's fair for
Oh,
somebody else.
that's brilliant. Actually,
They,
see, that's the same thing I have right now.
yeah,
It's just like if I can't give you as much time as I believe that you need,
yeah.
then I would not put myself out there at all because it's just not fair to you, is it?
But you don't know what somebody else needs. You don't
True.
know.
Wow.
They might look at you and be like, wow, I'm really proud of you for all you're doing, and hey, I'm going to be there to support you, and maybe they'll help, like I said, jump in and help you with business, or maybe they know something about marketing and can help you with, it's like, take some of this. And like I always tell my girlfriend, it's like, what can I do to take the stress off your plate? What can I do to lighten your load? You're busy, and you're a single mom, and you're taking care of your kid, and you're trying to run your business, and you're doing this. I'm like, what can I do to take some of that off? Can I bring dinner in one night? Can I, what can I do to make, can I help you clean? Whatever it is, that how can I go about making your life easier. And then we have more time together.
Exactly.
So it's, again, you've got to find the right person that's willing to jump in and not be all me, but saying, hey, we're a team. And now that we're a team, there's two of us to accomplish everything. And vice versa. She's been very supportive of me. It's like, how can I support your business? Do you need me to look into this for you? Do you need me to help you with that? And, my new venture that I can't speak of yet, but it's coming very soon. She's like, hey, I'm in, whatever you need, we're in this together. And it's beautiful to be with that, when you can be with somebody who is also success minded and growth minded and sees the value that we both bring to the table.
See, that's what I wanted to ask. Do you believe that business owners should date business owners?
I don't think there's a should, or I don't think there's a right or wrong. I think it's being with somebody who has a similar mindset as you and understands your value system.
Exactly, but how can it is a very peculiar type of path, isn't it? It's a very specific journey that people outside of business don't necessarily understand, I believe.
I think it varies, because there may be people who work with entrepreneurs and understand the struggle, or have lived with entrepreneurs, or maybe they had their own business and decide that the 9 to 5 is better for them because they don't want the stress of running a business, but they understand it. They understand you know what I mean? So I don't know if there's a concrete one way or another, but it definitely takes, if you are an entrepreneur, it takes somebody who understands what it takes to be an entrepreneur and is willing to either understand that you're not going to be as available, or willing to jump in with you, or just accept you for who you are and you accept them for who they are, and understand there might be some scheduling conflicts, or it might be some distractions or whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's good to have, I think for me, those similarities would actually matter. But like you said, it's a case of staying open. It's the most important bit here is the understanding, is the support, and is like you said, the lightening of the load, like being a team player, right? Building something together and just making it easier for the other party, whatever it is that they do. Wow, that was a very cool conversation. Thank you so much, Ian. I hope you guys loved it too. Tell me, how do you find dating? Is it easy for you as a business owner? Do you have specific things that you like doing? Share it with us. If you're listening on a podcast, send it to habitsofinfluence@gmail.com. If you are watching on YouTube, do drop it in the comments. I would love to hear your stories, your thoughts on the topic. And I'm wishing you guys all the best. I hope that you are in fulfilling, lovely, successful relationships, that you have found that person that is lightening your load and is helping you out. And I think that's it for today. What do you think? Do we have anything to add?
And just if you're considering dating, if you're an entrepreneur, just really understand being open, being open to it, be open to the possibilities, understand, look at all the possibilities that could go right, not what can go wrong. And, find someone that fans your flames, and be that person that fans their flames as well.
Absolutely. Always start any relationship, not just entrepreneur, business owner. Start with yourself. If you want a quote unquote perfect person, become the person first. Always come from what I can give to the relationship as opposed to what I can take. And I think that is the basis of any successful relationship that we can think of.
You just said something that made me reflect on something as well. And you have this idea of a perfect person. If you do have that idea of what your perfect person looks like, understand that in order to attract that person, you have to become what that person would be attracted to. So if you want somebody who's success minded and healthy and this and that, then you've got to be exhibiting those traits. You want some musclehead that lives in a gym, you're gonna have to be working out too.
You can't be sitting in McDonald's at the same time.
Yeah, the lifestyles have to complement.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, all right. So this is it for this week, guys. I highly encourage you to stay with us. If you like this episode, do give us a thumbs up and some love. And do not forget to press that notification bell on YouTube so that you do not miss any of our future episodes. And if you think that you like our podcast enough to share it with somebody, please feel free to do that. We would love to have as many ears and as many eyes on us as possible and help you guys feel less alone and become that successful entrepreneur that enjoys the journey. All right, guys, thank you so very much. I really appreciate you. Thank you, Ian. I'm going to see you next week. And yeah, till the next one.